I know Mike was saying on the ride there or the ride back, you guys got into a pretty fired up conversation about fiber. He said you're almost like irrationally passionate about fiber.
Fiber is amazing,
which I didn't know.
Let me just tell you, because of that diet, before that diet, I was getting a lot of fiber because I was eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. You know, like paleo, you eat a lot. But once I started that cutting weight diet, all of my fiber went to zero.
You had a regularity issue?
Yeah, quite a bit. And I talked to Mike one day, and he was like, take Metamucil.
It's so gross.
Take Metamucil or eat kale by the bag.
Yeah,
that's right.
One of two choices there.
And like a 2-day experience of what it was like to be an 85-year-old man.
Yeah. And let me just say this. I took one dose of Metamucil, and it basically changed everything.
It works great, doesn't it?
It was a game changer.
Yeah, it pretty much changed everything, and so I really couldn't get enough of it, actually, after that.
You couldn't get enough of it.
I felt so light. It was amazing.
This was while you were cutting weight, right?
Oh, yeah.
That probably totally helped.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, fiber absorbs water, so it helps, and also reduces your appetite. So I was basically taking a fiber supplement before every meal. So, and I would mix it with my protein shakes. And,
Do you see yourself developing a dependency to Metamucil?
you know, I don't think it would be a bad thing. There's no such thing as too much fiber, I feel.
Like, pretty soon you'll be devoting way too much of your paycheck towards Metamucil, then it leads down a slippery path towards the...
I mean, it's really cheap. It's only like $6 for 72 doses.
What would you do for Metamucil?
It's double-edged because
everybody's got a price. Everybody's got a price.
The more Metamucil you take, the more time you will shit. The more time you'll shit, the more time you spend in your bathroom. The more time you spend in your bathroom, you go to work late. You go to work late. Boss gets mad at you. Boss gets mad at you. You get fired. You get fired. You go back. You need more Metamucil. It goes round and round and round.
Downward endless spiral.
The dragon. The dragon is
Down the
chased.
toilet. You're putting your life all the way down the toilet.
Chasing the Metamucil dragon? Is that it?
Chasing the Metamucil dragon.
Yeah. So Metamucil's great. I love it.
Well, what was the heated part?
We got a little bit of a discussion about how sometimes when I'm giving people nutrition advice, and I present to them the whole don't eat grains, eat vegetables instead, and I get the look and they go,
But
like,
I've
yeah,
always
what about
been
fiber?
told that I need grains.
yeah, where am I going to get my fiber?
That's the voice of the people.
Eat fruits and vegetables.
You mean the sheeple?
Sheeple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You sheeple following your food pyramid and myplate.gov.
But I can understand it because damn, Honey Nut Cheerios is some good shit. It's the best.
It lowers your cholesterol.
And if you say to yourself your cholesterol is going to get lower, man, that's all it takes. I love it. That would be a good cheat meal.
So
Just slamming a whole thing of Honey Nut Cheerios.
We were actually talking about the research involved in the marketing with Cheerios and lowering cholesterol. And
Well, the clinical
we were talking
results
about-
are sort of dubious, are they?
Well, it's one of those things where because if you eat more fiber, it helps remove the cholesterol from your bloodstream, right?
Soluble fiber from the oatmeal, right?
Right.
So I feel like Cheerios is making this leap. You know, it's like, well, fiber lowers cholesterol. Guess what? Our cereal has fiber, hence Cheerios lowers cholesterol. So,
Yeah, and
well,
there's a
it's a
couple
funny
studies
commercial because eating grains and high glycemic carbohydrates like that is going to raise your cholesterol. So
Yeah, they probably show that it. I think it's
Cause a problem,
It
and they fix
absorbs
it.
it absorbs it from the gut and dispenses with
Right.
it. There's no. That's a lot different than systemic decreases in cholesterol. Yeah.
well, I think if it removes it, your gut, blood, all that.
Spoken like a scientist like Bledsoe.
It
You
does.
know, the osmosis.
In today's physiology class, we'll tell you about your circulatory system. It's like fucking blood, and stuff goes around, and your heart goes like pumping, like a pump, and then and the more you move, the better it pumps. I don't know,
It sounded really good in my head before it came out of my mouth.
like most things you say.
So sure, it's physically going to rid your body of cholesterol.
Right.
That's the only way you get rid of cholesterol is by binding to fiber and then pooping
Right.
it out.
Right.
But if you're eating Honey Nut Cheerios in super high volume, you're bound to raise at a minimum your triglycerides will go off the chart. If you're just
Right, I'm not
crushing grains all day.
I'm not sure that the Honey Nut Cheerios That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't think they did the study with Honey Nut Cheerios.
No.
They took a fiber study and
I'm
then they
signing up for that study, son.
They extrapolated this out to Cheerios.
CTP's with me.
Exactly.
And that's what we're saying is like these. We were talking about research in general and how like research can be really, really funky path because all it takes is
people have faulty
someone
logic.
to make that. Yeah.
Like,
Well, you can
There's
get
a
you
huge
can
leap
run
there.
you can run an investigation.
Well, you know that's why they're doing it.
And
Or
usually,
how they're doing it.
Yeah, there's always an assumption that there's probably error no matter how well you run a study. So you run a study, even a hugely powered, strong study. There's always a chance that the things you observed aren't real.
right.
And the risk is that you observe something in a even if it's fucking a nutritional study at Johns Hopkins with 1,000 people. On its face, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, that would seem very convincing, and it should be respected. And the outcomes of that study should be heavily considered. But they can be terribly wrong. And if you repeat that several times, that investigator keeps working, builds a 10, 20-year career, and assembles some evidence, it all starts to look very convincing. Sort of like with the idea that drinking red wine was good for you because it has these fucking compounds, and those compounds help fight off whatever it is that can cause you to have heart disease. But then that big story broke a couple weeks ago that the guy who led the charge in that research was fraudulating. That's not the word. He was falsifying his data. Fraudulation. He made up a lot of the data. He just he mucked with it.
I got a feeling like when I looked at some of the China study stuff, I kind of got a lot of people were making the same claim there. But
problem,
Alex was talking about something specific. What were we talking about in regard to research?
I think what were we talking about? We were bringing up that Wheat Belly, that book.
Yeah.
I was reading an article and it was about the book Wheat Belly. It was actually the author. Someone had interviewed him, and basically what he was saying was that the book is very anti-wheat, basically grains in general, and he was saying that they did all these studies about whole grain consumption, and that it's good for you, and that it will lower your cholesterol because it has a lot of fiber, and it's basically good for your health. But they didn't do any studies taking the wheat completely out of the diet. And so what he was saying is that, okay, yeah, you have someone who's eating, processed, white flour, processed foods, and you give them whole grains, yeah, they're going to see a positive health increase. But, I mean, he basically said, well, what about if they didn't have grains? That's like saying, okay, someone who is smoking unfiltered Camels and you gave them filtered cigarettes.
It gets better.
Yeah, of course, their lung capacity is going to get better, but that doesn't mean the filtered cigarettes are any much better.
You got to suck harder on that cigarette now. It's got that filter. Lung capacity.
Or if they couple that with some reasonable attempt at exercise, and it all looks very good.
Right.
It's like in Forks Over Knives when I have these people, they're eating this movie, man. This movie. Oh God, where do you start? The first shocking thing you realize is they have this guy who's like, I don't put any restrictions on what I eat. I eat anything I want. This fucking guy's eating Pop-Tarts and donuts and processed meats every day, 3 times a day. That guy was amazing. What was his cholesterol? Like 1,000? Seriously, what was it?
It was ridiculous.
It put you back on your heels. You go, this guy is alive.
Right. Those are one of those people that make me think like, man, the human body is amazing.
And then I go, what we've got to do is we've got to clean up your diet.
I remember that.
Oh yeah.
So he goes from all this eating to eating a vegan diet, heavy calorie restriction, and starting to exercise. And he loses all this weight and he feels great. He goes, wow, if I knew this back in the day, I would have blah, 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 blah. Whatever he was saying. But there was no attempt to say, is because you removed meat from his diet. By the way, it was processed, tube-formed, nitrate-saturated meats. It wasn't like any sort of, it wasn't even like what you'd get at a grocery store. It was like, microwave Jimmy Dean sausage patties or some shit this guy was eating every day. But there was no attempt to say, is that the cause, or is it all the process?
Well, it's all just
as well.
Correlation versus causation.
Exactly.
All that. I mean,
You said, my man. That's like the first thing you learn in research design class. Yeah. Some of the basic biases and what is that?
That's your timer, Chris. Shut the hell up.
You just got
what was I saying? But to close my point, the danger is when you find a study, especially if you find a study that agrees what you already wanted to believe in the first place. Confirmational bias. If something tells you what you want to hear, you latch onto it.
And you can design an experiment to make your results.
And if you're a researcher who wants to prove something, to put his name out there, you fight for it. Or if you're backed by certain people who are going to fund your research and your career, you're going to push for it. The thing with science is it takes time. You need 100, you need 200 years actually sometimes to prove some things. Like theory of evolution.
That's why I don't believe in research, man.
You need time. You don't need 10 years, 20 years. You need sometimes a lot longer. So it just takes a lot of time. We don't question gravity because that idea has been tested quite a bit. But when it comes to things like nutritional research, the surface has barely been scratched.
Too new. All right, guys, we're going to take a break real quick, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to be talking to Doug about the fish oils.
Yeah.